everyone, welcome back to this blended homestead. I have missed all of you so much, and I just want to say that I apologize for taking so long to make another video. You know, life happens sometimes. Most of you know that I work full-time. I have another part-time job, I have kids, and life just gets really chaotic. Also, I've been going through some personal things, and I was sick for about a month back during the holidays. So anyway, I'm back, and I would love to show you what is happening in my garden. So we are currently towards the end of January. I'm in zone 8B. I'm in Texas, and there is not a lot happening. In the last few weeks, we've had some hard freezes, and I actually did not put frost protection on any of my plants, and we'll talk more about that later. But I am right now in the middle of planning my spring garden. I'm so excited. So I'm ready to put winter behind me and focus on the new season that is coming up. So let's take a look. I'll give you a brief tour, and we'll talk a little bit towards the end about what I am planning for the spring garden. So over here are my 4 green stalks, and this one over here was my salad green stalk. It had greens, and there's still some carrots there at the bottom. They look a little rough, but I just pulled one out. So delicious. But there's not a whole lot happening. Over here I have a viola that has somewhat survived. Most of the lettuce and things that I had, I harvested them and cut things down. I do have some more, I believe these are green, colored greens or kale, and they're starting to come back. I cut it down to the stem. But yeah, I have bunching onions there. This was another lettuce that had grown back, but because of the recent freeze, it did not survive. Here's a random celery that was doing actually pretty good, and the hard freeze just took it out. Over here on this one is my herb garden green stalk, and it's doing pretty good. This is the winter savory that has survived, and like I said, I have not covered or protected anything. And it's not because I don't have the things to do it. I just simply didn't feel like it. I'm just gonna be real. I've just got too many other things that I was doing at the time, and plus I get to see what actually survives. But the herbs are doing really nicely in here, so I'm proud of this, and I look forward to planting more herbs in it. This one is my strawberry green stalk. I did start a few from seed. I believe this is the Alexandria variety. They're not too great, but I'll be getting more in the next week, and I'll be filling up these. I'm getting some strawberry plugs, and I'm just going to finish filling up this green stalk with only strawberries. Over here, this was where at first I had some beans, and then I planted some peas, and none of them really did, like the peas did not do well in this one, but I plan on using this for like a hot pepper or salsa green stalk. We'll see what I do with that. Over here is what I call my container garden, and there's not anything left in here. I pretty much took out all the rest of the summer and fall crops that were in, and just put some fertilizer in the containers, and then covered it with some mulch, and it's pretty much been asleep for the winter. This was my kale collard tree that did not survive. Sad day. These are pretty much the only things left in my container garden. So I have a Chinese cabbage that survived many different freezes. I'm gonna have to harvest that though. This is my Brussels sprout, and look, they're so cute. I have 2. I actually didn't think that they were doing anything, And then I just saw the little sprouts. So I'm like, okay, Brussels sprouts, I see you. Just 2 random onions. I had calendula growing in that. I harvested some from it. And then on the other side, that is fennel. And it's okay. It's not looking too bad. This is garlic. I believe that this is, I think I combined a bunch of different garlic varieties, but it might be early white. And then over here is my elephant garlic. They all came up pretty early because I planted them on Halloween, and I think it was just way too hot for them still. These are, I cannot remember. I think I have the label down there somewhere, but again, they sprouted really early. So I'm not sure how well they'll do. But again, I'm just trying to see what works and what doesn't work. In these containers all along the rest of this row, I had my potatoes in there, and you guys, they did not do well at all. The vines ended up dying, and so I did harvest some, but they just didn't do that well at all. I will be planting more potatoes next month, and I'm hopeful that those will do a lot better. I think it was just way too hot for the potatoes in the fall. Down here I have more garlic in this bed. Then in this container right here, I have Egyptian walking onions. More fennel. This is the bronze fennel. In this raised bed, I had broccoli, I had celery, calendula. I did harvest some of the celery from this bed, but the rest of it isn't looking too great. So I've just been breaking some off and feeding them to the chickens. The broccoli in this bed, it was growing so wonderfully. It was thriving, and then it bolted. Again, it was really hot for longer than what we anticipated here in Texas, so it just didn't do well. I have a bunch of these 5-gallon containers that I had planted some snapdragons in, and they bloomed. They were so beautiful, and then the freeze got them. But I was really happy to see flowers kind of into winter. So I'll be planting flowers every winter. I think it's just a lovely sight when you're looking out into the garden. Along in this bed, I had some beans, some provider bush beans, and I harvested a lot from those. And then I planted some peas. I believe it was the Lillian's caseload peas, which I love, recommended by my sister. And they did not do well at all. So I'm looking forward to planting more beans over here and actually expand it to more of the bed. I had more broccoli here. This is the purple broccoli. I did get to harvest some broccoli. This is just what is left, and I didn't harvest from this at all. Again, the chickens have been able to get some really good treats from here. This over here is cauliflower, not looking great. You can see this is the flame star cauliflower, and I'm not sure, how much I'll get of this. This might be it. One bite. But I think if it was in optimal condition, it would be a really nice thing to have in the garden. Here I have some sage, and it's held up really nicely. Again, no frost cover. Now I did have covers on these to protect from pests, but I took them off after the first, after the cold front came in. And, the pests weren't really that big of a deal at that point. Here there's more cauliflower, and I don't know if there's anything down there. This would have been a beautiful purple cauliflower, but again, it got damaged. All of my brassicas, they took so long to mature. And I don't know if it's because of the heat or if it's because this bed, the soil is still adjusting. I did a soil test a few months back, and it didn't have a lot of nitrogen, and I think it just takes time to get your soil builded up to what you want. And I think that has a lot to do with the slow maturity of the plants that I've planted in here. This thing grew in a container where I was starting seeds and I didn't know what it was. I think my sister said it was a weed. But yeah, if you guys know what this is, I mean, it's thriving. It's been down to like in the teens for a few nights, and it's looking good. I wish the rest of my plants would do that. In this other raised bed, I have some collard greens. I will say that the collard greens in this bed were gorgeous, and we did harvest from it quite a bit. This is just what's left over. I've been giving it to the chickens, but it did so well. I'm going to try to find a picture of what it looked like, and I'll insert it in here. We also had salad greens in here. I did harvest lettuce from here until everything bolted. So, but it did look really beautiful. Here I have some cabbage, and you can see that there is some frost damage on this cabbage. So I don't think I'll be getting any cabbage this year at all. That's okay though. This is another cabbage that was forming. Maybe this will make it. I don't know if we're done with our cold weather. I mean, who can really tell, right? This is more cabbage and another head that's growing over there. So, and then in the middle here, I have some crystal wax onions. I'm not expecting anything much from these. They look pretty scraggly. I've started to let my chickens free range for a little bit, and they have taken over the yard. They're so cute though. They better not get used to it though, because when spring hits, it's going to be over for them. Well, you know, they won't be able to free range in this part of the yard. This final tall raised bed has onions and carrots. I did harvest a couple carrots from here, but again, they just didn't do that great. I have these purple carrots. I'll put the variety that I used. Loved it. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. And then I do have some onions. I have Texas Early onion, and I have a red burgundy onion, and they didn't do great. Very, very disappointed with how these onions have come out. And, you know, now it's time to think about planting onions again for the spring. I don't know if I'm going to put them in these raised beds because I don't think the soil is all that great. The soil test that I had done showed that this bed had high levels of phosphorus and potassium and almost no nitrate or nitrogen. So I've been trying to repair that slowly, but it just takes time. And this other bed where the chickens are helping themselves to some leftover dill has gone through a lot. So I have this fenced up because either a critter or my dogs dug up this bed. I had more onions, that actually those onions were doing great in that bed. I had carrots and radishes, beets and dill, and whatever dug it up just destroyed it, destroyed the bed. So I filled it with more soil, put fertilizer down. Put compost down, and you know, we'll just see how the carrot. There's a few more carrots, and we'll just see if the remaining carrots that are in here are going to do anything. I doubt it. These were white carrots, and I tried one little tiny one. It's so good. So yeah, I'm hoping that in the spring I can have more carrots that will actually do well this time. But yeah, that is what we're working with here in Zone 8B in winter, January. I just want to take a moment to encourage you, if you've also had some challenging few months, a challenging winter like I have, that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. It's okay to recharge. I'm looking forward to the spring because, yes, my winter crops were almost a total bust. And you know what? That's okay
because what gardening has taught me is to be resilient. And now I'm making plans for the spring. Like this area, I would like to turn into a tomato alley area. And I will bring you along for that because it will be budget friendly and a place where I can grow a bunch of indeterminate tomatoes. And I have plans to expand around the corner of the house to make a pollinator garden and to grow some other things back there. So I want to encourage you to take the rest, take the time that you need, and just know that your garden is waiting for you when you feel like you're able to get back out there. Despite the hardships, I feel incredibly blessed. My chickens have started laying eggs, and I was able to harvest a beautiful bouquet of broccoli and kale. Even my carrots look so beautiful, even if they weren't as much as I would want.
So right now for the spring garden, I am going to be growing a lot of different things. I'm so excited. I'm going to focus really heavily on peppers and tomatoes because I'm most excited about that. I also find myself being excited about flowers, which I didn't think I would be. So I'm starting a whole bunch of flowers. My problem is I want to grow all the things, but I don't have the space for it. So I really have to be selective and maybe not plant as much of something as I would prefer. So my goal going into this new growing season is just experimenting. I'm still, whoop, it's very windy. I'm still in my first year of gardening. As you remember, I started gardening back in April of last year. I started with herbs and I realized that I love growing things. I developed a passion for gardening. And so all of this has been started really in May, which is really not that long ago. I've never had a spring garden before, so I'm just really excited to start this new growing season. I will take you along. I started some seeds already. All my pepper seeds I've started. I'm cold stratifying some seeds that I will be using to start a pollinator garden, kind of over on that side garden area, and I will take you along for that. So in a couple weeks, I'm going to be starting my tomato seeds. I'm really excited to show you what varieties I'll be growing, which is pretty much every variety that I bought. So my thing is I want to just experiment with what grows well in my climate, what grows well for me and my family, what we like. And then kind of go from there for the next year. But for this year, it's experimenting. I do have more seed potatoes that I've ordered that are coming in. I'll be planting those next month. And yeah, so I will take you along with me. I really want to go over how I plan my garden. I know it can be overwhelming for many people, myself included. So the organization system that I use may not work for you, or you may take some elements of it and choose to adapt it. And whatever you do, I hope that my next few videos coming up will be a help. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. What are you guys doing in your garden right now? What zone are you in? And do you have anything that you're harvesting right now? What are you most looking forward to growing this next spring season? Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.